Hey fam, come on in. Getting ready to talk about some travel. This is another Monday. Welcome to Travels with PMB. I am your host, Paul. If you are here now or in the replay, just say hi, Paul. And so we can go forward from there. Thank you so much for coming here now or in the replay. And so, what we're going to do is just talk about travel like we do. If you love travel and you love traveling, whether by cruise ship or what other means you like to travel, we are going to start discussing that. And so, I am here. And so, one of the things I want to start doing is start trying to do just some cruise news, just talk about some cruise news, what's happening in cruising and things of that nature. And some of the things that sometimes I do some trainings and things of that nature. So it may not be something that everybody sees. And so I want to give you some news that you may not have heard about because I am privy to some trainings. If you don't know, did not know, I am a travel agent. So sometimes I do training and I learn information even before it is out there to the general public. Just some things that is happening, some things that is going to happen. And this past weekend, thank you. If you're coming on, just say hi. Just let me know you're here. This past weekend, I did some training with Carnival and some exciting news coming out with Carnival. If you like Carnival, if you have been on Carnival cruise line before, there's some exciting news. So the training was really about Celebration Key. And so I have a cruise set up for next year for Celebration Key. I just want to try it out. I want to vlog it. I want to experience it for myself. So I am going on right now. I think it's the first cruise that Carnival has going to Celebration Key. So if you're going to Celebration Key next year, let me know in the comments if you're going to be there so that I can see you there. And so I am going to go to Celebration Key and I'm excited about it. That's really the only stop. I'm trying to see if some other people can go with me so I don't have to go by myself. So right now it's just a solo trip. It is a little bit more expensive because of the fact that it's a place, it's new. A lot of people is going to want to go there. And so for a 3 day cruise, it's a little bit more expensive because it is what they call inaugural season. Not usually they call that for the ship, but it's a new port that no one has ever been to before, and so it's going to be exciting. And so if you're going to Celebration Key, let me know. If you know the date that you're going, let me know. Maybe we are going to be on the same cruise ship. And so I'm excited to share some of this news with you before we go on to some other things. And so, as I was saying, we did the Celebration Key training. And when I tell you Celebration Key looks like it is so beautiful, right away, there's this place called Pearl Cove, and this place is all inclusive. And right now, unless they change the price, I looked in the excursion, it's like $99 to more or less have access to go to this area. It has its own place that you can have something to eat. They have reserved for use, places that you could sit, lie out, the beautiful waters there. And so it is going to be exciting. And so I'm about to probably reserve that before it sells out. Even though it is, it's not, it's less than a year now, so I might as well just reserve it just to know that I do have it. And so one of the things that they mentioned, and so good news, have you ever been to Half Moon Cay? You could just leave that in the comments, either now or in the replay. If you've ever been to Half Moon Cay, you know that that is a tender port. And so one of the things that they shared is that in 2016, Half Moon Cay will no longer be a tender port. And so therefore in 2016 it'll no longer be a tender port. And so if for those individuals who do not like tender, some people just do not like going on a tender at all. And so it is going to be something good and refreshing so that you don't have to have a tender to go on. And so they're building a port or segue, a ramp or a walkway so that you don't have to deal with getting on a smaller ship from the ship that you're on or a smaller boat and then going into the port. So that's one of the exciting news, that Half Moon Cay, as of 2016, will no longer have a tender port. And so Carnival is now, if you didn't hear in the news, Carnival has decided to get rid of P&O Australia. So the cruise line P&O Australia, Carnival has decided to get rid of P&O Australia. And so in getting rid of P&O Australia, they decided to bring those ships into the fleet of Carnival. So Carnival is going to have two more ships. And the thing about it is, I had said this in a video. I said this in a video maybe a few weeks back. And I said it in a video a few weeks back, and people kind of gave me flack for it. People kind of gave me flack for it because of the fact that they just said that, they thought that it was going to happen or what have you. But I was correct. I did an observation in the video, and I just kind of went to Airtable. Have you ever looked at Airtable? Airtable is something where you can know what the cruise directors are for Carnival. You can know it by ship by ship. And so therefore I was able to look at it, and I was just looking at it because I just want to see who my cruise director was from. And then what did I realize? What did I see? I saw that there were two ships, Adventure and Encounter. And so this past weekend, they verified, Carnival said that Adventure and Encounter, coming from Australia P&O, will now be a part of the Carnival Cruise Line, and is going to come out, not the, is going to come out once they, I'm sure, do their thing and put their Carnival signature on it and make it what it should be. And so I did a post about that weeks ago. Hey, Carnival Cruise Addicts, thanks for coming on. I did a post about that weeks ago, and for those individuals who hated on me and were trying to ridicule me for on when I posted it on Facebook, it is coming to pass. So, Adventure and Encounter, two new cruise ships for Carnival coming from Australia P&O, which is no longer, will be coming to the Carnival Cruise Line soon. So, we're just talking about some cruise news before we go on, Carnival Cruise Addicts. And so then when it came to Celebration Key, so one of the things that it's coming out in 2015, and so what Carnival said was, this is just the first stage. So whatever we are going to see in 2015, whenever we get to go to Celebration Key, they said that it is only the first stage. They have more to come. So I really think so. I don't know if you've ever been Carnival Cruise Addicts. I don't know if you've ever been to Coco Cay. It's like Royal Caribbean's thing. And so everybody keeps saying how great that is, how awesome that is. And I really think Carnival is getting ready to turn up their competition with Royal Caribbean in so many different ways. And they're getting ready to turn it up in this way with Celebration Key, because if what I saw already was impressive, can you imagine if they said that was only the first stage? And so they're going to do something on a massive scale. And I think that all of us as guests of Carnival, we are going to be privy, and we are going to get the benefit of this competition that Carnival and Royal seems to be having. If you ever seen it, and you kind of feel like they're kind of trying to one up on each other right now. And so we are going to be able to get the benefit of this competition by the fact that they're going to do this great, massive private area for Celebration Key. One of the other things that they announced was that they're going to have two Excel class ships. So we do have Jubilee, we do have Mardi Gras, and we do have Celebration. And so they're going to add two more Excel class ships. But on top of that, they're going to even go bigger. And they named the class of the ship, but he said it, the individual said it so fast, I couldn't even hear what he said. But he said they're going even bigger than the Excel class ships. Now, I don't know if they're going to go. See, I don't know if they're going to go as big as the Icon, the Utopia, Wonders of the Seas. I don't know if they're going to go that massive. But now that they kind of saw what Royal did, now I'm wondering if they're really going to go bigger. I don't hear anything about going smaller. They're going bigger. Carnival Cruise Line, we have been but seen all the videos. Can't wait to see if Carnival can elevate their game. Exactly. I can't wait to see if Carnival. I think the fact that now it's sometimes there's a benefit, right, for being second. Not second in terms of like your second place, but in doing it second because you could kind of observe what was done and make it even better, right? So somebody has their ships out, somebody already has their island out, and everybody loves it and what have you. And so now you can make it even grander and bigger and more spectacular and do stuff that, even you can cater specifically to your clientele by doing something that is unique to the clientele that you do have. And so I think that it's going to be really a game changer for Carnival in the next coming years. I really think between Carnival and Royal, they're really going tit for tat, and is really going to see. I really want to see what comes out of it after all is said and done. And I feel like, unfortunately, I feel like Norwegian is kind of lagging behind in terms of and I've read some articles where, like, in terms of just even profits, they're kind of lagging behind. They decided to go smaller with these Prima class ships. The one that's coming out next year, which is Aqua, is going to be a little bigger. I think it's called Prima Plus, if I'm not mistaken. So it's Prima Plus. So it's not going to be the same size as Viva and Prima. It's going to be a little bigger in size, but it's still not going to compare. When I see sometimes these royal vlogs, you know one royal vlog on here, he says like, I want bigger, like, like, some, I feel like it's almost kind of like the, say if I'm wrong, I feel like individuals that keep wanting bigger, it's almost like the iPhone effect. Those individuals, at one time the iPhone was just so crazy popular that every year somebody wanted something bigger and better. And it'd be like, okay, it added something with the camera, oh, that's good, give it to me. They just wanted something bigger, they wanted something better. And I think with Royal, with all these bigger ships coming, icons and all these things, I think that's the mindset, that just give me bigger, even at the expense of, you know is it how much is it really adding, because I would love to know the difference. I would love to see a chart, like, okay, you have Wonder, all of the things that Wonder has on it, like, what is really being added to make that much of a major impact from like Wonder to like Icon? It's bigger, more ships, I mean more rooms, more space, but are they adding a lot more restaurants? Are they, if it's like a small change, then it's like, okay, then I could probably save money by going on Wonder, which, not too far long ago was the biggest ship in the world before they started making other ships, right? We prefer smaller size ships, honestly. Okay. And so that is going to segue into what I'm going to talk about next. Last week, I came out with two videos. One of the videos was just a sea day on Carnival Legend, and the other video was dealing with. It was just a review of Carnival Legend, what I thought about the ship. And one of the things that I said in that video was that I preferred because of the type of cruise I was on. It was a 9-day cruise, and almost every day was an excursion, except for the few little sea days that we had. And almost every day was an excursion, and the excursions were long. It was a long day, and then by the time we got back to ship, it was really just dinner. Maybe just had a little nightlife, and then we was just exhausted. And so I want to talk about, is bigger better? And so let's talk about, is bigger better. Now, to be honest, I have never been on a Royal. All right. I've never been on a Royal. I have known people that have been on Royal. And one person I know personally, she's been on the Wonder. She loved it. I thought at one time it would have been like crazy. How do they, organize getting all those people off on a ship that big with so many people, like, at ports, or just getting them on an embarkation, disembarkation. I went on Mardi Gras. um I went on kind of Mardi Gras, kind of early for when it started sailing. When I went on Mardi Gras, I felt like it took forever. It was Port Canaveral. It took like forever. The lines were long. I don't think I was. I wasn't platinum yet, so I had to just stay in the regular lines. or what have you. And I don't know if I had faster to fun or whatever, but the lines was just extremely long, to the point where I was feeling like, am I gonna get on this ship on time? Like, is this ship gonna sail out on time, because the lines were so long? And so if I could feel that way in with Mardi Gras, I was somewhere where one, I think it was Wonder came, and I saw the size of Wonder. I was in St. Martin on one cruise, and I was on, I believe it was Celebration, and I saw the size of Wonder next to Celebration, and I was like, "Oh, it's like a kid." It was, it was, it would deal. It really was massive, as big as the Excel class ships look. So I could imagine just how like Icon and these other ships would look next to the Excel class ships. So my thing was, and so when I spoke to my friend said, "Oh yeah, it was organized. People was able to get off at the ports and come back on the ports on time." But my point that I said was I like ships. I've been on Mardi Gras. I've been on Celebration. So I've been on the Carnival bigger ships. I've also been on small ships. I've been on Paradise. I've been on like the smaller ships. Legend was a smaller ship. In Norwegian, we were talking about Norwegian. Norwegian, even though they came out with this new class of ships, the Prima class, it is not their bigger ships. So it's almost like a boutique. And so, I mean, it's not their biggest ships. And so, therefore, now what would kind of move you to like for those individuals now, or maybe in the replay? I'm just curious if, I know you said what you said, Carnival cruise addicts, but other individuals, do you prefer a small? Do you prefer the larger ships? So my point in when I said in Carnival Legend, one of the points I said was, because of the fact that the itinerary was so long, and because of the fact that it was a long day, coming back to the ship, having been out going and doing an excursion for 8 hours, it was kind of good that the ship was not that big, so that I didn't have to feel like I had to walk for 20, 30 minutes just to go to the dining room, or just to go to I didn't have to wait. I didn't feel like even elevators. I didn't feel like I had to wait for a long time at an elevator to go to a floor. And so I'm just thinking like, okay, you're on the ship, elevator times has to be a little longer, right? I don't feel like, now when you're in a maybe a short, then also one of the things I said is, you're not going to see these ships going to some of the ports you really want to go to. Like, you're going to see them mostly stay in the Caribbean. Maybe, like Jubilee's out of Galveston now. I'm not sure if once they come up with these other Excel class ships, maybe they'll send one over to California. But if you're an individual that you kind of done the Caribbean, you kind of, you may have even did the Mexican Riviera and things of that nature on California. You've like after a while, you're getting these bigger ships, but then it's like, now I'm getting ready to be like, I want to go to Europe. I want to go to those areas. I've been longing to go to Italy. I want to do those kind of a things. And so therefore, I don't see the bigger ships going there. I don't see the massive ships going there. Like next year, I have a cruise for the Norwegian fjords, and it's the Princess ship. And so I want to be able to experience more than just the Caribbean. And so even like, for example, Venice has like a limit. I would love to go to Venice, but Venice has a limit. I think not only on the it has a limit on the amount of passengers on a cruise ship. They cannot handle, if you hear in the news, like they're flooding all the time, so they cannot handle these massive cruise ships with thousands and thousands, and the tonnage is just so much and massive. They'll be flooding. They'll like, you couldn't even go into the town. Like as soon as you move up, they'll just be flooded. The bigger ships are good for having more food options, but we prefer less people on board and having to be more an intimate experience where you might run into people a few times. That is true. Like that is so true. I never even thought about that. So I felt like when I was on the Legend, even this time, we would come across individuals, and we would see individuals like multiple times. There may be individuals also that love their specific areas on the ship. They'll love the Alchemy Bar and they'll stay there. So you kind of pass by there and then you'll see them also more often. And so, yeah, I think I agree with you. I think when it comes to Mardi Gras and those kind of a thing, it is kind of like a disconnection. Um, in terms of being able to like, oh yeah, like see people more often and to be able to connect on that type of level. And so it's a little bit more disconnected. It's probably great if you have a big family and you want to be able to do something of that nature. But I think because of the fact I really want, and I was doing some training with Holland America, and they was talking about their clientele for the most part are more destination based than cruise ship based. But there are clientele, and I'm really curious to know like if there's like an age difference in this, like bigger is better kind of a thing, where like they don't care, as long as it's big and new and fresh. I'ma spend the $10,000 for an interior room because when I was looking for Icon at one time for like a decent cruise. It was that expensive. So it doesn't matter. I'm just going to spend it or make sure I'm one of the first ones to book it before the price really goes higher than that. And so I would love to do a new ship like Sun Princess. I'm going on Sun Princess next month, and it is a new ship, but it's not massive. But it's a new ship. It's a new concept. It's going to be, and I'm looking forward to it. Even though like, so I'm going with my sister, for example, and so some of the ports she has not been to, so I kind of like to do that, to go with somebody who may not have experienced some ports, and at the same time it's a new ship, so it would be a both of a new experience for her and for me. I would still do an see, the thing is, even though some places, if I'm going and I'm experiencing a ship, then I would want to do a different type of excursion so it can be a different type of experience. But going forward, tell me if Carnival cruise addicts, are you destination based? Are you going to be more destination based now? Or is it going to be, you said you like smaller ships. Like, for example, I just had, and so like now the thing about it is Carnival, I guess, has so many smaller ships that even though they got rid of some ships during the pandemic, like they got rid of Fascination and they got some rid of some ships, even though they got rid of some ships during the pandemic, they still have enough small ships to say that they have a balance for passengers. That's what I think. Unless they decide to get, and the fact, I'm not sure how big Adventure is, and Adventure and Encounter is from P&O Australia, which they're going to keep over there in Australia. But the fact is, I feel like they have a good amount of smaller ships compared to the Excel class, that people can have a good option, and that is really good. For now, we have to choose based upon what we can take our PTO in itinerary first and then ship, but we are just happy to be on a cruise no matter what. Okay, got you. So some people just like the experience of cruising. I know one person individually, he doesn't get off the ship. Um, he said that he hardly gets off the ship. The experience of the cruise is just his vacation. He's going to relax. He's just going to enjoy himself, and that's what it is. And so he doesn't get off the ship. And so when people do it like that, it reminds me of like an all-inclusive vacation, even though, ships are not really all-inclusive because, Wi-Fi you have to pay for, most of the ships. The drink package you have to pay for, where if it was a land-based vacation, when they say all-inclusive, you're getting the Wi-Fi, you're getting the drinks, it's really all included in the price. Even like specialty restaurants they have, for the ones I've been to, it is included in the price. It's just different from what the buffet is. And so therefore there's individuals who feel like, I just want to go on the ship and that will be it. But my thing is, the only time, let's be honest, because some of these ships go to Nassau so often, the only time I really kind of stay on the ship and I still get off the ship at Nassau, because I want those conch fritters. I love those conch fritters, and so I would get off the ship even if it's like for an hour, stretch my legs, maybe do a little shopping now that they renovated the port. And I did like a video of the newly renovated Nassau. So maybe stretch my legs, get some comforters, sit down somewhere, enjoy the nice weather, and enjoy the port, and just come back home and just come back on the ship. We also like to gamble, so as long as the casino's nice, we're happy. Okay, cool. Oh, I wonder. So, do you get a lot of casino deals? Because lately, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's saying the casino deals has not been what it has been in the past. Maybe for those individuals who really gamble like 5,000, 10,000, they just just keep putting money down. But my a friend of mine said the casino deals are not always like what it should be. Like I used to even get some, and I would do some stuff and I was starting to get some, and I haven't seen anything really in a lot. We get great deals. Oh, okay, that's great. That's great. And so speaking about ships, so now passengers are talking. Now the clients are talking. Now individuals are saying, even with Royal Caribbean, because they're going bigger, and so Royal Caribbean is working on a new class of smaller ships, right? And so aboard Utopia of the Seas, this is the reading. It's from Travel Weekly. Royal Caribbean International is working on a new class that will be really exciting, but we can't say anything about it. The CEO said about the new tube while he was on the Utopia of the Seas. He made the comment during a media briefing on a preview cruise of Royal's 6 Oasis class ship, which will sail short cruises out of Port Canaveral. So that's talking about the Utopia of the Seas. And so he's looking to now do smaller ships. And so you have to realize, with all the generations that we have sailing, it's not, you have like older, younger, and so having these huge massive ships to walk around. If you have mobility issues, that's one of the things also. You have mobility issues and you have these massive ships to go around, it may be a problem. I find myself, even when it came to celebration, like if I wanted to eat something, for example, I wanted to have dinner, and I would have dinner at a certain time, and sometimes you're in the dining room and you cannot, you know hurry the waiter up to get your food, right? And so like sometimes like you go there and maybe the same time you did the 2 nights before, and one night for some reason dining is taking longer than usual to get your food. Now all of a sudden, if you've been on cruises, you know how it goes. If you want to get that seat, if the show starts at 7:30, if you walk in 7:30, you're not going to get the seat you want. So to get the seat that you kind of want, right, then especially if you feel like it's going to be a packed, especially it's big, it's a big ship, and those shows may be packed, then that means you have to get there half an hour before. So then now you're rushing. Now you have mobility issues. There was one time, even in a smaller ship, I was with my mom. She's older, and it was paradise. I remember, and we were trying to get there, so so we could save seats, of course. But even in that, like it took, like, and that was a smaller ship. So can you imagine a massive ship with somebody who maybe have mobility issues, trying to get somewhere on time to be able to enjoy a show or whatever it is that they want to do? And so like people are talking now, they're like, okay, can you really do something smaller? And the fact, unless Carnival, I haven't heard that they're getting rid of any of their ships. In fact, they're getting more ships. So I haven't heard that they're getting rid of any of their older ships. So that's a really good thing, because then they'll be able to provide their clients with so much more. And so with this, I think what their clients are trying to say is not that Royal doesn't have smaller ships, but they want a newer ship that is smaller. See the difference? Because you want a newer ship that is smaller than these huge ships that's coming out, and something that is nice, something that has more of the modern amenities that they have in some of the newer ships, the restaurants, this, things of that nature. And so people can enjoy a smaller ship, and then don't feel like they're overwhelmed with these big, huge, massive ships. So Carnival Cruise Line, one of the benefits of the larger ships is getting those steps in to to burn off the late light pizza. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I think when I was on like Mardi Gras and Celebration, I was really focused on what my schedule. I really love the Carnival Hub app because of that. And I really would like, okay, and then I would like plan out my day and would just determine where I would go based upon like what it is, And so like if I felt like some things would be like, nah, I can't make that based upon where I'm at now to really be able to make that on time on things of that nature. So I would adjust my schedule accordingly. And so or just kind of like stay in a specific area where the entertainment is, where I could be able to really enjoy the fun. So I'm really curious. I really should probably do. I'm probably gonna do a poll and see how many people answer this, and see how many people really prefer these bigger ships, and then probably do a poll on based upon is it destination based or ship based. But some people, Carnival Cruise addicts, some people they also prefer a certain cruise line, right? I love Royal. They only want to go to Royal. Some people they don't like Carnival, or some people don't like Carnival because they've heard some negative things about Carnival without even trying Carnival, right? And so therefore it's so if you only do one type of cruise line, you kind of like keep yourself away from all of the other cruise lines that you can that you can get to. That means the itineraries, meaning, so I'm further now. So I've said, like, okay, I've done a lot of the Caribbean, and this is a good tip for y'all. I did a lot of Caribbean, and I know you may like your cruise line, but don't be so stuck on your cruise line. Hi, Edna. Don't be so stuck on your cruise line that you miss a great opportunity for a vacation you have never had before. Don't be so stuck on your cruise line that when it comes to having a great vacation of someplace you have never been, or you're so stuck on the fact that you want bigger because you want the bigger ships, that you miss out on having a great experience. And they just went on the Spirit class. You went on the Spirit. That's a smaller ship. And so some people would probably be like, "Oh, I don't want to do that. It's small. I want something big, going to Alaska." And what, at the end of the day, especially if you have people around you, that will make it fun. You have people around you as family that makes the experience better. And so what I've been finding out, I want a specific type of cruise. Like I'm looking for example, I'm looking for something in, like, I've never been to Italy. So I'm looking for something maybe that will go from Barcelona to to Spain. Maybe cover Nice and stuff like that, Rome, and maybe come back to Barcelona. So I would love to do that one day. That's one of my things. I am not stuck. Even though Carnival, I have sailed with Carnival more than any other cruise line. I am not stuck with Carnival because I want to be able to get the itinerary that I want. And I'm not stuck with having a big size ship because I know that, especially in Europe, the ships may be smaller to be able to get to those beautiful places. And so, therefore, my mindset would have to change then going into these places. And so, let us explore. This is a travel channel. I'm trying to motivate everybody. Let's explore this world. The pandemic had us shut down for years. Let us explore this world and look at all the things that we can look at. There's so much beautiful places, so many places I have not been to and I want to be to. And so let's not limit us to these big ships that will only take you to the Caribbean. And some of these ships that are big is only taking you to the same places. It's the same itinerary over and over again. Some of them is just 7 days and going to the similar ports and Costa Maya, maybe Saint Martin, maybe Saint Thomas, maybe Puerto Rico. And so we can get to the point where we get into a rut. Yes, there's a bigger ship, there's a newer ship, but then it's the same kind of experience because at the end of the day, I feel like that's why I want somebody who's a really royal head. I want somebody who has been on Wonder, been on Icon, been on some of these bigger ships, and really tell me. That's why, like I said, that it's almost like the experience of getting that new iPhone, and I will have a phone for years because sometimes all they say is like, "Oh yeah, the camera was better." Like, My phone is good. I don't need a new camera. Like my camera is good as is. I don't. Oh, it has more zoom, and so they give you a little bit more feature. So I want to know. Okay, you're giving me bigness. You're giving me grandness. You're giving me a bigger ship. Are you giving me more restaurants? Like, are you giving me like what else are you giving me besides just more rooms? I only can stay in one room. I can only stay in one room. So you're giving more rooms, you're giving more size. Are you giving more adult only areas? Are you giving more food options that are free? Or are you giving more specialty restaurants that is a paid situation? And so one of the things that I loved about Carnival is because that in this Excel class ship, not only they gave you it was bigger, they gave you more shows, right? That's why they gave you more shows, like shows that you couldn't find anywhere else, the circus shows and different ones. They gave you street eats on the Lido deck that you wouldn't find in others. So free food options. They gave you chicken shack in the back of the ship, a free food option. And so they gave you more food options that were free, and they gave you also some places that was a restaurant specialty restaurant. What's the Carnival Cruise Addicts or Edna? What's the fusion place? The Mexican Chinese on Carnival. I forgot that. Shebang, right? So they gave you Shebang, a free food option, even though now they're stepping back and people trying to go to these restaurants more than once. I don't know if you ever heard about that. That what people are doing now, Carnival, if you're gonna go there more than once, even though then they'll start charging you but I think that what they're trying to do is if it's a free option, they want everybody to have a chance to have it and sit down and try it and not somebody keep trying to go back there every night. And so now they're gonna start charging you if you keep on trying to go back to some of these options. And so that's what I saw the differences. Not only that, but then they gave you a new experience if you wanted to do the bolt. And so I want to know, like, okay, what's the new experience that you can't find on anything else? Like are they giving you free options, or are they giving you more food options, but now you have to pay for it? And so after spending so much money on a big ship, like then it's like now you have to pay for more items, more space, but it's not free items. More space, but then some of the things, the activities you can find on other ships as well. And so that's why it's like I think you really have to take an objective view when you're looking at this stuff and be like, okay, you know what? Maybe and I want somebody like, what, Paul, I want to go to Europe, and none of these big ships are going to Europe. I can't limit myself any longer just based upon big ships. Anybody see my point of view? I can't limit myself based upon these big ships any longer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enjoy the big ships. Not saying that I won't try one of them, that you should not try one of them, but not just say I'm waiting for Utopia, and then you go on Utopia, and then the next big ships come. I'm waiting for that to come out. That's gonna be my next vacation. And then we don't get a chance to explore all the things in this world that we get to go to. I would love to do a Mediterranean cruise. I would love to do Hawaiian cruise. I would love to do all these other cruises. And so sometimes bigger may not be better if you are not going to the places in this world that you can go to because they're limited to certain destinations. You have to realize these big ports, these rigged ships cannot go into every port. They're too massive. So they're only limited because of how big they are to be able to fit in certain ports. And so that's the reason why it's limiting. And so, so that's why it's like, okay, that big port is big enough. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go there. That's it. They're doing 7 day cruises. Okay. You only can get from Port Canaveral from Florida, unless you are sailing out of Puerto Rico. There's only going to be a 7 day cruise. There's only be so far, especially it's a loop cruise, meaning that you're leaving from one place and you're going back to the same place. You're only going to be able to go only such a far distance when you're in that situation. You ever realize that? If you've ever, I've sailed out of Puerto Rico, I did Norwegian Diva. And once again, it was a smaller ship, but I did it because of what? the destinations. I didn't do it because of the size. It was a plus that it was a small ship, so a new ship, a new concept ship that I did not do because I'm going on Prima in November, so I'm going on the sister ship. But this Viva was newer, and so even though it was a new ship, that was good that I could examine the ship. But at the end of the day, the fact that I was able to go almost every day to a place that I've never been before was so beneficial to me, to go to Tortola, to go to Barbados, to go to St. Lucia, to go to places I've never, to go to Antigua, places I've never been to before. That if I decided I only want to do big ships, and I'm getting ready to close. If I only want to do big ships, I would miss out on those places, those experiences. And so let's go forward this year, next year. Let's try to just do some things to experience some great things and try to do destination. I want to hear where everybody is going. I already told you. So my next is, oh, so I don't think I told it, and I probably will do a live on the ship. But next month I will be on Sun Princess. It will be the first sailing out of Fort Lauderdale. I think there is going to be, like, for those individuals who are travel agents and maybe those vloggers or things of that nature, if they get an invite, they'll do, like, maybe, I'm not sure if it's sailing or just going to be there at port, but I am going to do my sailing from Sun Princess. Beautiful ship. I've been seeing it. I'm going to try out some of the new dining experiences. I've been on Princess before, so there's some new dining experiences I've never seen on other Princess ships, which I want to take advantage of, and I feel like their entertainment. They're doing some different things with their entertainment as well. So even though it's not a grand ship, the experience, I'm looking forward to the experience. And though the ports I've been to before, I'm doing something different, get a different experience of the ports that I've been to. We live in Florida, so for us, it doesn't matter much sense to fly anywhere to go on a cruise, although we are looking to booking Alaska soon, and then we'll have to fly. Do you have a shipmate? For next month, I am going with my sister. So solo in my room, but I'm going with my sister for next month. Yeah. So that one is I won't be going solo. So Carnival Cruise Addicts, what about the Mexican Riviera? I love, anybody has ever been, I will do that again. I did that aboard Carnival Panorama. I just Shipmate app. No, I don't have the Shipmate app. No, I don't. I've heard about it, but I never gotten the Shipmate app. So is that something that you think I should do? But what about Carnival? What about the Mexican Riviera? Anybody that has not done the Mexican Riviera, I may even do a group cruise. I may do a group cruise to the Mexican Riviera. I love that itinerary. I love that cruise. And I was looking at it today, and I think they added a port. Usually it's Cabo, Mazatlan, and Puerto Vallarta, and they've added another port. I was looking way off in the future, like 2026, and they added like another port. So usually it's a 7 day cruise, and it became a 8 day cruise. So I may do a group cruise for that. So look out for that maybe in the future sometime. I want to do Mexico. And when I tell you that cruise was so good, I did it on Carnival Panorama. It was the beginning of my it was kind of in the beginning of my channel, so I didn't really vlog then. And so I did a little bit of something back then, but it was so great. That cruise was great. I really I That's why I would do it again. Whether I do it on Panorama or whether I would do it on another type of ship, but I would recommend that. I think each port has its own character, and I enjoyed each port for what it had to show and for the things that I did. And so maybe I would just do something different the next time I go, especially if they're adding another port to make it an 8 day. So, and I think that yeah, I would recommend that. That's one of my favorite places that I've been to, or one of my favorite cruises was that Mexican Riviera cruise, that Alaskan cruise, and this cruise that I went this year with Norwegian Viva, because it allowed me to see so many different places in one time. Favorite places that I've been to. Favorite cruise ship. so far, Carnival Celebration. So I still got that as my favorite cruise ship. But I'm getting ready to go. Thank you so much for all those individuals that came so far. Thank you for those that are coming in the replay. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Click on the notification bell to be informed of future posts. It would greatly help my channel. And thank you so much for coming. Thank you for Carnival Cruise Addicts, for Edna for responding. Thank you so much for all those that wrote in the chat. And I appreciate you so much. And until next time, happy travels. Have a good night.